Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coffee with the Councilors. This is the August version of it. We may have a smaller crowd than usual today because it is August and everybody is out doing things, especially in this gorgeous weather. So we have some people in the council chambers, and I'll do my usual thing of going around and asking people what they'd like to talk about, and then we will talk. So Amy, I'll start with you.
Okay. I would like to find out if there's going to be any type of public forum or anything for the people who are running for city council. I know I had talked to you earlier on, you got nabbed by me at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
But you know, a couple of years pre-COVID, you had done one or two of them at the Coaster Theater, because they were very informative, because I didn't know any of the people, and now I still don't know all the people, and just finding their views and seeing, you know.
Yeah, we have in the past. You have a connection.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a minute. Yeah, okay.
That was the only thing I wanted to raise.
Okay, Melissa?
Thank you. I just wanted to make a plea for our worker bees that we have in our little village, particularly this summer.
Okay. And Jan?
Just if there's an update on the bridge, the First Street Bridge situation.
Okay. Eric?
Don't have anything.
Okay. And
But one cabbage.
Les?
I'm just listening in today. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Deb, what would you like to talk about?
You're muted, Deb.
You're muted.
The tourists or visitors are crossing the road and not helter-skelter, and it's so dangerous, and then Sunset's so backed up that it takes forever to turn there. I'm sure they're well aware of that. And then we had a bicycle that was going through the S curves, probably about 40 miles an hour, and my husband almost witnessed a really bad accident with the little kids being hit by the electric bicycle. It really shook him, actually. I didn't see it, but he was very shaken by it because it was so close. So,
Okay.
so you know, this is the danger of nobody's minding the crosswalks at all. And it's just, I mean, I'm scared I'm going to hit somebody every time I drive downtown, because people just jump across the road.
Okay. Ginny, I always like watching you because you're always doing something when you're
Productive.
doing.
I'm ironing today. I love to iron.
I see that.
I just wanted to say thanks to Jason for taking the conversation last month about no police blogger, and now it's on Facebook. So that's been really interesting to see that. And I also had the same question about forum for council candidates to, so we can all learn about the council candidates, since it seems like a full docket this time.
Okay. Dale?
Well, nothing too major for me. I guess if I was going to rant about something, it would be that for a relatively affluent and popular area, our lack of cell service is pretty dramatic when the crowds flood the area. But that's about it for me. I'd love to see somebody hold Verizon's feet to the fire and make them give us a report on what they think from their end is happening. And that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Betsy?
Let's see, am I muted? No, okay. Yeah, well, it's kind of the dog days of summer for me. I don't have much to say except when Deb brought up that Sunset intersection. I do really like that four-way stop down there by the fresh Tolovana wayside. It's wonderful and safer. And I'm just wondering can't happen at sunset and
Oh.
Hemlock.
Okay, great. Let's see. Anita?
You're muted.
You're muted, Anita.
Good morning, just listening today.
Okay. And Jessica?
Hi, thank you for having this since I can never come to a council meeting on Tuesday. And I don't know what you all talked about, but I'm going to bring up the lovely topic again. It's the second year. This will be the third time I bring this up, and it's lack of garbage cans.
Okay.
And I just wanted to remind you all that a year ago, last May, when I participated in one of these meetings, one of the city officials, I don't know who it was a male's voice, said they were on order. That was over a year ago. And we still don't have them. And I just want to make you mindful of, I've mentioned before, I walk on the beach every day. I live on the Presidential Street. I walk on Ocean with my dog, and I'm always picking up dog bags with stuff in it on the beach. And there's nowhere to put it. I mean, I can only go so far, and my dog's 17 now, so she can't go very far. And so I'm trying to do my part by picking up garbage as I can, but it's just not, it's not feasible for me to do it anymore. And I'm kind of getting a little bit resentful even, because I want to help out, but I can't keep up with it, and there's nowhere to put it. And I'm not going to take it home to my garbage can because it's other people's stuff. So I think if we had more garbage cans where people walk to the beach and they see it's there, they're more likely to say, oh, well, I can take it off the beach myself. I can take my garbage off there.
Okay, so we will talk about that in a few more minutes. We have,
Got it.
okay.
I didn't realize that was on the agenda. Sorry.
No, it's, everything's on the agenda.
Okay.
Carolyn,
Sure.
you're muted. If you're talking, you're muted. I don't hear you, so I'm going to move on.
I'm going to turn off my video because speaking of Verizon and cell service and stuff, I'm not receiving you guys very well. So I am listening, I'm paying attention, but times better when photos are off. Fine.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Do you have a question or concern that you'd like to talk about?
It's Betsy.
Oh, that was Betsy. Okay. So I guess I don't know Carolyn. We will move on. Okay, and Rick, you just came in. Is there anything you'd like to?
Is it Sherilyn?
Oh, Sherilyn?
Yeah, she's still muted.
Yes,
No.
hi, this is Sherilyn. I'm just
Oh,
listening. and I'm
Sherilyn, okay.
interested.
Sorry
Hi,
about that.
I'm just interested in the meeting. Thank you.
Did you say you were listening, just listening? Is that what you said?
Yes, I'm just listening. Thank you.
Okay, all right. And Rick, what would you like to talk about?
Well, I kind of came to listen, but there's something that's on my mind pretty much constantly, so I'll bring it. We are in a world that is changing rapidly, and the changes that are taking place in the world result in more and more and more people coming down here for the day. We can get more trash cans. We can talk about ways of accommodating more cars. We can talk about all kinds of things, but the fact is we need to get control of the number of people who can come down here every day. And the only way we can do that, the only tool that I know of right now, I mean, there may be a time when I can help with state legislation, but the only tool that we have available to us is to control the number of available parking places and to enforce the parking rules. We've got to do that or it will just keep getting worse. And when you look at the news, if you look at the news regularly, you're bound to know that Phoenix is getting to be almost unbearably hot. Las Vegas is getting to be almost unbearably hot. Salt Lake is drying up. In 10, 15 years from now, if the climate keeps changing, there's no reason to think it won't. This part of this nice, moist, cool part of Oregon is not just going to be overrun by day trippers, it's going to be overrun, period. And we need to start getting ready for the fact that we are standing here on a beautiful piece of land that is going to be completely overrun by environmental migrants if we don't start preparing for that. But the first step we could take.
Okay, let's, I'm going to stop you right there. Okay. And I'll stop you right there because we're going to go on to other things and then we'll come back to you. Okay.
But that's what I want to do.
Okay, that's okay.
Nancy,
All
who
right.
was that that just spoke? Because I didn't get that person's name.
That's Rick Gray.
Oh,
Hi there.
good. Hi, Rick.
And he's a candidate for District 32
Wow.
You
unaffiliated.
don't have to plug me. Thank
No, I'm not plugging you. I'm just identifying you. All
We
right.
vote for that.
Okay, so let's I think we need to talk about garbage cans and get that off the agenda. Bruce, can you give us an update on the garbage cans?
If you would give me just a minute, because I just got handed a report.
Okay. All right. I think we just got handed a report on garbage cans.
Yes.
Okay.
Karen came in.
All right. Okay.
I was hoping that there would be the cost of the cans because they're all custom made. And we can't put just any garbage can out on the beach because the wind will blow them over. And at this point, we talk about the locations where we have beach accesses. And we have 62 locations and a total of 79 cans in place. And of our 45 beach accesses, we have about 23. And I have a list here. For example, on Mayor and Oak, they're too steep. And anyway, there are issues in some places on where we can put them and not. Somebody reported last week that there were, last month, there was maybe 15 cans or something at the yard. Those are cans that we pull out during the winter and then they go back out. So those were not surplus. We have 10 or 12 on order. And because of material issues, they're not, we just have now received them for a long time. And so the way that we try to keep up with everything is that the company that we use, Affordable Carpet Cleaning, and they do a really good job and the guys work really hard. They actually empty every can twice a day. So they'll do a cycle, then they'll dump, and then they'll come back and do that cycle again to try to stay ahead. So we do have cans on, I would say receptacles because they're more than cans, but receptacles on order. And, if we can look if the presidentials is a priority for it, or if there's some other location, we can do that. It's not a huge deal because we're already spending a lot of money on this, but it does require us to up the payments to Affordable because they're going to be picking up more cans twice a day. But right now it's a matter of getting, our hands, it's going to sound funny, our hands on cans. But that's what we have to report. And I do have something in detail as far as, how many are at each one of the beach access locations.
Okay, so some are on order, but do we know where they're going to be placed once they're on order and once they come in?
Karen Pry has a list of the places that are the most overflowing, if you want to call it, at each location. So there probably is a start with that. We can make suggestions also if there's a place that somebody feels we need to have more.
Well, and I was wondering just for August and September, because those are huge months, maybe we could have them do 3 trips just to pick up things so people feel like they have a place to put things.
Yeah, I think
Because during the winter, you can balance that out by maybe not needing that so often, you probably already do it that way, but there's Karen.
And Karen appears.
Karen.
Imagine.
Here's our expert.
So a couple of locations we already have in town, our Porter Service asked for us to add a second can, and we've done that in 5 locations. Washington Street seems to emerge frequently as a problem area. So Kurt felt like starting with that would be good. And then to truly vet any other locations that people feel are problematic before we just put them all out there. Running a budget thing for you right now to see what our cans cost us. I can't remember what they were the last batch we got, but we ordered 10 more and we'll put them out. Sorry, I ran down the hallway. Put them out as we kind of vet each location. Trash on the ground 1 or 2 weekends isn't a viable problem, but if it's an ongoing, we'll certainly address it. Some locations, we can't even put a trash can because it drops off. There's not enough room. So we want to be able to pour a pad, have it there where it doesn't tip over or get damaged. So it's got to be a bona fide location that makes sense. Okay, other questions?
Jessica,
No further questions.
do
May want to badger the witness.
you have a couple of locations that you would like to suggest?
Well, Washington is going to be
Suggestion.
one.
She's asking.
I'm
Sorry
sorry.
up there.
Jessica?
I'm here.
Okay. Do you have
Well-
a couple of locations you would like to suggest that you have seen problems with?
Well, Washington would certainly make it nicer. I don't necessarily, Washington would be great because there's one on First Street. And then it's several blocks before you get to the next one south, which is on Madison. There isn't anything, and I think that's 8 blocks. So, Washington would be a great location. And I don't know if you're familiar with that grassy area between Adams and Jefferson, where there's a little sidewalk there. I don't know who owns that, but that might be a place. I never see those garbage cans on Ocean on the presidentials ever overflowing. And I walk there 3 times a day and on the beach. So I guess I'm the garbage can monitor for those few blocks, but, and I do see a lot of paper and trash on the side streets. People just leave stuff there. And again, if you make it convenient for them, they might not do that. So anyway, I think Washington would be a great location. It's just a block from me, but and so anyway, if you want some more feedback at another time, not to take up the meeting, I can talk to somebody about that because I do, like I say, I'm out and about. Okay.
If you come to the next Parks meeting, I'm going to share this spreadsheet with the Parks Committee so they can see exactly where the cans are. It's everywhere we have a can in town. And then you'd be able to give input at the Parks Committee meeting on anything else. But there is a can at Madison, by the way. I don't know, maybe you haven't noticed it, but there is a can there. So this, I wanted Bruce to see this before I shared it with the Parks Committee. This gave Bruce a budget printout. Go ahead, Bruce.
Well, I'm not sure if this is for the 4 and the 2.
Yeah. We
Okay.
ordered 4 cans and then 2 benches because as you'll notice, most of the all of our pop-up parks and then many of our locations where we have trash cans, we have a bench. When someone's sitting at the bench, 9 times out of 10, it generates trash and they don't always take it with them. So Kirk tries to put a trash can there. So we needed 2 new benches based on broken benches this past year. We ordered 4 trash cans and it was just under $9,000.
Is that just,
These
is
are
that
galvanized.
is that just materials?
That's everything.
I don't see where labor's on here. Okay.
So
Yeah, there's, okay.
many times when we order trash cans, we won't have them cladded, which means the wood is on the trash cans. We just have him do the galvanized metal and then Kirk stores them. And as we have issues like this come up where a trash can's damaged, he replaces them. He clads it himself and then he replaces it. If they're in immediate need, like recently, then we have spares to pull out and deal with it. Otherwise, we order them. And the gentleman that has made these for us from the beginning in time, he's a very busy guy. So we're like any other client. We got to wait until he can get them together, but he does pretty good turning them around. But
Well, what about the idea of picking up trash 3 times, at least in some of those heavily used?
our porter service has been impacted just like the rest of our businesses where it's hard to get staff. They got hit very hard during COVID. The owner himself, you'll see Jay Paul picking trash up himself in our town for the last 2 months because they've been trying to keep up with the demand here. Year before last, they brought on a seasonal person to see if that would suffice. And they just did it for a few months. It cost the city a lot of money for them to bring that extra person on. And it was okay for a few months. We didn't need him throughout the whole year. This year, he couldn't even get a seasonal person. And so it's just that same battle we're all dealing with as far as staffing. They do a fantastic job for us. And, they take good care of our bathrooms. They even act as a plumber at times. And you guys will call and say a faucet's running. They can get there sometime before my own guys can. And they'll look to see if it's really broken or if it's just the timed faucet that just hasn't stopped the water. It comes back up slowly sometimes. So they're really good partners to the city. So
They are, and I see just bundles and bundles of things.
that truck is all.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
Karen, while we still have you, can you give us an update on the First Street Bridge?
nothing until FEMA comes back and tells us if we're going to get something. And as you know, with the 4 generators, they kept us waiting a whole year before we even knew what was going to happen. Unfortunately, even when we call for a status, it's not like that. They don't give a status when something may come up for review. So we patiently wait. But Civil West is handling all that for the city. We hired them to do that process for us. And so he and I kind of tag team saying, don't forget us.
Yeah.
You know,
We haven't heard anything from FEMA yet, so that's.
and
yeah.
once we hear, remember, all that is to finish the review that was began many years ago and say, where are we now based on our current seismic standards? Can it be retrofitted and kept in place? Or if it cannot be, what would a rebuild look like? That's all that assessment is about. It's not to pull the trigger on us doing anything. All that would come to council and Bruce before we did anything.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
One thing too, Karen, I noticed, and maybe people have reported this, but there is a bench over by the Lazy Susan.
There's a what?
A bench over by the Lazy Susan that has a board missing and it has nails sticking up. So
To see if it's city, that's private property, so it may belong to one of them or the folks that maintain that parking lot for the owner.
it's on the walkway.
It is?
Mhm.
Okay, well, look, if it's ours, we'll be getting it addressed. Like I say, Kurt's
It's
got
kind of dangerous.
I heard something, I thought I heard Patrick say something about the benches were going to be replaced in the courtyard. The Patrick at the
Oh,
theater.
Okay,
I'm not
this
sure.
is on the north side of Lazy Susan.
Okay.
So
I'll follow up.
it's not quite in the courtyard.
I just want to say thanks to the community that is our set of eyes. Sometimes you see stuff before myself or Trevor do town checks every morning, every evening, and our guys, of course. So I appreciate the feedback, the email, the text that you give us and say, hey, this sign's down, it's been hit. So keep those messages coming. It helps us out. We don't take that in a negative way at all.
Thank you, Karen.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay.
On this topic,
Mhm.
there, I think when we started, it started out being specifically about the dog poop being left places. I don't know, I have no idea about how much this costs, but I have been reading for the last 10 years or so. There are towns in UK and in America that have streetlights that are powered by dog poop. People can deposit their bags in there and then turns it into, electricity. I would think something like that would probably, for at least a little while, would encourage people to drop their dog poop off just because it's cool.
Or warm.
People are strange, I mean, So, I mean,
Okay, moving right along.
It might be, it's something that we'll look into.
Might be something that a grant could help us pursue.
Yeah,
to see if
yeah,
it's
something like
viable. That's
Okay, moving right along here. Yeah, I was going to ask something. Jessica, was that an answer for you? Maybe not the adequate answer, but was it an answer?
Yeah, it was an answer. Yeah, I appreciate that, and I will see if I can attend one of those meetings and see if I can give a little more input. And yep, thank you very much.
Okay. There was a question about, there are a couple of questions about whether or not there's a public forum for elections. That's not something that the city sponsors, by the way. Do you know of any that's planned?
But I have contacted Patrick and asked if he's got somebody he can work with to do a forum.
Oh, okay.
So, and I've not heard back.
All right. Yeah, he's been pretty busy.
Oh, sure. I'm down to talk to you, Nancy, and I was possibly by Amy on this.
That's something maybe the Gazette could do.
Well,
That'd be perfect.
yeah, the last one that was done was sponsored by the Astorian. So I don't
that'd be
know.
good.
Yeah, that was God, that was the one you were in, I think. Yeah. And that was the Astorian. Usually it's the newspapers that sponsor them.
Right. Well, I'll look into that for you. Okay.
Okay.
I'll call the Astorian too, or see.
Yeah. Betsy?
Is that something that the, even though it's not city sponsored, because of the, I'm so pleased as an immunocompromised person to be able to join events and on Zoom. It's like,
Betsy, you're really breaking up. I can't quite understand you.
Yeah, try turning your video off and see if it's any better.
Keep your audio.
Yeah, you're frozen now.
I get this, I think. Is this better?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
There you go.
It's that cell phone issue that Dale talked about.
There you go.
Okay, there you go.
Does this have?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. I've been for those positions at the chamber in the past, but I really appreciate the ability to attend Zoom meetings, and I don't know if that's something that could happen in the City Hall chambers, even though it's not a city sponsored event, because you guys have your whole Zoom thing set up really well there. I mean, I don't know. I don't expect an answer right this minute, just something I'm throwing out.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure we would have enough room for people attending is one thing. And the other thing is, I don't know, again, if it's going to be a city sponsored situation.
Well, even if it's not city sponsored, I think it'd be up to council as to whether or not you would let the Gazette or whoever do that kind of a forum here. And then we could do it and we could have it recorded so people could look at it later. It is difficult, except Rusty can do anything. It is, we thought about doing things at the Chamber of Commerce because it's a neutral site, but we can't, we've got cameras all over the place to be able to go ahead and, get good shots of folks and sound, and we're all set up with YouTube and all that. We can't do that remotely yet.
When Rick did his emergency forum, or what was it? Some kind of an emergency presentation at the theater, he did have something, and I don't know that it was Zoom. I thought
Zoom, but it wasn't very good quality.
Okay.
I think the library did something at Coaster with YouTube streaming. Maybe Jen might know. At the library.
At the library or at the theater?
They did it at the theater once or twice. I don't know why.
I don't know of anything. We did the interview with Melantis, but that wasn't streamed.
Oh, okay.
No.
I think one issue if we do it here, we have it, it's a convenience, we offer it to folks. I don't think that if we were going to do it remote, or if somebody was going to do it remote, that the city could take responsibility for the Zooming and everything else with that. So there's, I think it would be a policy question for council as whether they want to do it in this location. And if not, it would be if you provide the direction to us, we would, go ahead and set it up someplace else if we could. We'll go ahead and clone Rusty so that he can get it done.
Well, I know the library just bought within the last couple of weeks, a kit for Zooming at the same time that you're doing the live presentation. We haven't tested it out yet, but that may be a possibility that we could do something.
Maybe would lend it to
Yeah.
poster to do that.
Yeah. So we will, Deb, if you could give us a report, ask Joe if he's interested in sponsoring something, that would be great.
And then, and what about the Coaster Theater? You can't do Zoom there, right? Is that what you said? I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure
Yeah, there's no, right now, the Coaster doesn't have any Zoom possibility within the theater. I mean, that's actually a huge venue for that kind of thing, but so the theater doesn't have any of that equipment at all.
Well, plus with COVID, we probably should do it by Zoom, I think. Don't you think?
Yeah, I don't see that it's a huge problem at the moment. At least the theater's not, the theater is bringing people in. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll explore.
Yeah.
Theater is going to be pretty busy though in September. We've got Gramercy Ghost rehearsal.
Yeah, but there's
They're not.
there's probably a day or two in there.
There are a couple.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so we've got that. The visitors crossing the roads, Sunset Boulevard, a hike through a bike through the S curves, day trippers parking and being overrun potentially. Who wants to start?
I've given this a lot of thought, and I've lived in a beach community. I managed an island community, and here, and with all the people that come and show up, I think our problem is more of a long-term problem. When I look at in places that are getting ruined by having too many people, Venice and some other places like that, I think that we have to be watching out for that. And while I think that there's a lot of issues with what I would propose, I think if anybody's got something better, that's great. But in all of those communities, it always seemed that the assumption is that the people that live on the coast have an obligation to provide parking and bathrooms to the people that don't live on the coast. And that but that does seem to be because the state doesn't step up. As a matter of fact, the state has some places like Tolovana, but where they had parking along 101. And I know that that's dangerous, but when they said you can't park along 101, it sent them back to the cities. So, because the people are still coming. And this is a case where I think that we could use parking as a behavior modifier. As a paid parking. And I'm not talking about $5 a day, something like that. It has to be enough that somebody will make a choice as to whether Cannon Beach is the place I'm going to go, or am I going to go someplace else? And it sounds elitist and all that, but it's not. It's trying to go ahead. There's two components for me. One is trying to preserve the venue and make sure that we don't get overrun. Actually, there's three things. The second is that when people come here, it's not so crowded that you can't enjoy it. And then the third, and this to me is the most important one, is getting the community back to the people that live here. Because when the people tell me, well, I don't even bother going to the post office if it's after 8 o'clock in the morning or, whatever. Or I don't even go downtown, during the summer. Well, there's something wrong with that. So the thought would be that there would be a significant charge. There is a way to enforce it, and with you sign up and all that stuff. But there's a license plate a recognition. And so if you have a permit for today, it's in the system. The traffic aides can go ahead and just do a scan of license plates as they're going through the town. And then, again, I think it should be a large number, so people might decide to go someplace else and try to find a parking place. And then if they do park illegally, then I think we have to have a significant fine on top of that. And that's something, it doesn't say you can't come here. It just says that if you come here, and I'm sorry, this is a number that usually staggers people. We spend like $70,000 a year on toilet paper. And so you put on top of that the water and everything else. But in my mind, this is not a money-making enterprise. I think it would. But and I wouldn't even care where, if we gave the money, to appropriate activity or something. But the idea would be that people would make a choice as to whether or not to come here and have it as their parking area. One thing for this to work in my mind is that it has to be everywhere. So it has to be in the south end of town, on the right of ways. It has to be here because it's a tube of toothpaste. If we go ahead and we say downtown, if this is going to be impacted, they just move to another location.
Gotta be all the streets.
Right, it's got to be all the streets.
Yeah.
And then we need to also decide about where we want to allow parking. Right now, if there's a sliver of right of way, it's a parking place.
Yeah.
And so some of the streets probably can't handle as many cars as they got. I have a concern that there are times when people just trying to cram cars in, we would not be able to get a fire engine through that intersection. And we try to keep track of that. So I think that there are, and one other part, how is this ever going to get better? No, because there's no more beach communities being made. We're completely surrounded. There's no way for us to go ahead and get more beach, for people to go out to. And all the development that's going on east of here, all those people, they're new people, they're going to want to go to the beach. So our numbers will only get worse over time. And so I just think that's a way to step in and, take charge of the situation. And I'm sure we'll get a lot of flack on it, but I kind of gave the 3 or the 4 reasons why I think we should be able to do it. And I would say the 5th reason I've already mentioned, and that's that the state is doing nothing. And so everybody's benefiting from, the construction and everything else throughout the state. And then, yes, you can go to the beach, you can go to one of the 100 most beautiful places on the planet for free and stay all day. And then,
And have toilets and, facilities and.
everything is taken care of for that except your food.
I assume there's going to be exemption for residents and workers.
Oh, no, absolutely. No. Part of this is that the restaurants, I don't know exactly how we would divvy up how many employees, because that's kind of hard for us to control, because we might find out that the coffee shop across the street has 800 employees and they've all got free passes. But I would say that you get every resident, we get at least 2, maybe, hangers on the mirror or something like that. So there wouldn't be a charge for the residents. And there's a lot of things, there's a lot of details to be worked out, but it should not be a penalty on the residents. And I'm sorry I didn't mention that, but that's an important point. And also because the restaurants and the businesses are going to have to manage that. They already are. And if anything, they'll have less competition for parking than what they've got now.
I was talking to the municipal court judge a while back, a couple of days ago, and he said that there were his last month of working in the municipal court last month. He said there were 70 to 80 contested parking tickets that he had to deal with. And there's just a few, that's just a small percentage probably of the ones that are given out. 70 to 80. And of course, we increased our parking fine to $50. So that's probably why they're being contested. But I was really surprised. Jason, do you have anything to add to the parking situation or anything that Bruce said?
No, those complaints are typical, and it's just becoming more so now with society, you know, they're trying to avoid having consequences for what they do, but we're not seeing any big concerns this year that we've seen. They've been writing more citations than they have in the past. Just finding them left and right. A lot of the confusion is the conversion vans, people converting their vans from normal vans, but putting a bed in it and making it a camper. And so that's where we're running into issues, and we're working on signage corrections for that.
What kind of confusion are they?
The size of them, and they're parking in normal van parking spots, but they're a conversion van, so they're not allowed to. And so we've actually kind of put it off for this year, and we're going to work on signage for next year.
So essentially, they've become an RV. They're an RV that's still used in regular parking.
Yeah.
One question I have for you is the Sunset Boulevard for the intersection there and the backup to the highway. And then Deb mentioned bikes, electric bikes going around the S curves. Can anything be done about some of that jamming up of the intersections and improving the flow of traffic?
Sure, more officers. Yeah, I mean, it's somebody in the intersection directing traffic, and we take turns doing it. But, you know, just on Saturday, I was working and we were backed up. The officers that were working were backed up 3 calls with a found child on the beach. And so we had calls pending and traffic issues at the same time. It's just, we send the bike aids too to help direct traffic in different areas, but they were dealing with an intoxicated person in the park. And so, yeah, it's, so it'd be somebody that's dedicated to sitting there. And then I know on both entrances were backed up to the highway, and we just can't be everywhere.
Jason, could I ask something? I've mentioned this before, but I think there's no sign that I'm aware of on the 101 that directs people to the Tolovana off the street if they're going to that part of town. And it might be if we could get the state to put a sign out on the 101 saying Tolovana next exit. Some of the people who come down Sunset and want to turn left would realize go down one more and you don't have to deal with that.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it might be possible to redirect some of the traffic just by signage there.
If that's where they're headed, yeah.
I'm assuming so, because I walk by there all the time because I'm right up the street from there, and a lot of people are trying to turn left, and that's if they don't know better, then that's what they
turn
do.
left from
turn left from Sunset onto Hemlock.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And then of course there are other people who come down our street because they're trying to avoid that.
Yeah, I'm getting more and more of those.
But if they knew that if they're going to Tolovana, place to exact, then that would eliminate some of that backup.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Nancy, can I,
Amy?
four-way stop part?
Oh, first have.
The three-way stop in that location. I remember Chris did a presentation, and even when we have an officer out there, the issue is going northbound, like when it's somebody coming down Hemlock, or when if they're turning, they encounter 2 crosswalks in a very short period. And so it's not a matter of which car gets to go first. Nobody can go once they get to Hemlock because of the double walking area, crosswalk. And so when that clears, and it doesn't clear very often, that's when some cars can go. But it wouldn't matter if there were stop signs at all the other locations, because that's not what's blocking the traffic. That one direction and those 2 things block up the whole thing. So nobody can even come in from 101. If
the priority of having the officer there is for the pedestrians, or say, and get them through their pedestrian traffic. Yeah.
Amy?
I just had a question. Who do I talk to about, there's one area that I think would be very beneficial as a pedestrian and as a driver, if the city could put like a yellow line so people don't park directly on a corner, which I've never seen anywhere else in the country. I just have to mention. So who do I talk to? The police? Do I go? Where do I direct my?
Just send a letter to City Hall, and what'll happen is there'll be a conference between PD and Public Works.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Just real quick about the parking, what Bruce was saying. I really support the limited parking, that would help us with limiting people at a certain time in the year. I am concerned about the elitist situation that it might cause. So I wonder if we could look at the limited parking and also look at a way that everybody at a certain time would be welcome to come here. That's really what I would like to see, that nobody would be told they couldn't come here just because they couldn't afford to come here. But that somehow we could work it so that it would be limited, so it's not so overrun, because nobody's enjoying it really when it's just so overcrowded.
Yeah. And, I'm sorry,
Do you have any idea of when you might be bringing some of those proposals to the council?
when I think the community is ready for it.
I think the community is.
Yeah, right after summer.
Yeah, but there's a lot of issues. Yeah, but to Jan's point, I never did see this as a year-round function. Now, it might be different. We might say no charge for parking on Wednesdays from whatever to whatever, but I don't see this like past October and probably March up until then, maybe someplace in between there. Because like I said, it's not a moneymaker. It'll make money, but it's a behavior modifier. So if we don't have trouble with parking, we shouldn't be doing this. So that's my thought on that.
Yeah, you might think about when you might be bringing that to the council, because I think the community is, and that's a lot of what we hear, especially during the summer. So maybe it's time to start thinking about it.
If it was requested by a counselor, I would bring it to the meeting.
Well, what kind of fee are you talking?
I don't know. I don't know what the tipping point is for, when somebody would say, well, I'd like to go there, but I don't know what the number is. In my head, I'm thinking it's at least 20 to make it, worth somebody to go ahead and question it. It might be more, I don't know. But if we do it and we don't charge enough and it doesn't do any good. And one of the things too, we went to $50 for the parking ticket. Even if you charge 25, that's nothing if you live in Portland. When you're trying to go ahead and pay to park someplace in downtown. I think it was at a hotel there one time, and the valet parking, not inside, was $75 a night. So, but we have to, and we would need somebody to go ahead and really, think this through. And try to figure out what those numbers and things are.
Yeah, because my concern is that over half of the people that are here are from Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're from Washington, do you have trouble collecting money from people out of state?
Do we have what?
Do you have trouble collecting money from people out of state? Not so much.
Hey, they'll collect money from anybody.
Well, elections agency.
Pardon? They'll collect money from anybody.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So the parking, can we set up something called the Cannon Beach Land Conservancy? Because all of the complaints about the trees and the land and preserving our land for the future, what Rick Gray's talking about, which will lead into him next. If we charge for parking and we also get donations from donors, I would donate to this. Set up a Cannon Beach Land Conservancy so we can start protecting this land before developers get it, before our outside sources start to buy it, because they're going to, they're going to buy this land. They're already looking to invest here because it's going to be a hot spot. So I say we set up a trust, Cannon Beach Land Conservancy, start to buy up these valuable properties and somebody manage it. We'd manage it as long as we were here. I would donate it. People would give their inheritance to it. We start to build it and put somebody in charge of it so the city doesn't have to do that. And then the parking filters into that as well. That's the only way we're going to save this land. It's the only way we're going to save our land.
Okay, well, that's an idea. Melissa, you wanted to talk about something about the workers?
I know this session clearly got lots of complaints and people not trying to be, I think the chief said it very well, not taking responsibility for our actions, kind of the direction society is going. And this is a very small potato thing, but we are a community where people live here and they have things going on in their homes. Their toilets are overflowing, their windows may be needing replaced, their garages are being gabled. And we have worker bees. I mean, the people who are doing the work. And we have issues of the time that we can get workers available. I mean, I think the city manager has mentioned staffing issues are everywhere for everybody. Construction companies are overbooked. Getting supplies takes time. And I've had a recent experience where I was doing some work on my property and all this things came together. The worker bees were there, the materials were there. The people started working in the first 2 days. My worker bees got complaints about the noise. And I know there's a city ordinance about noise. Construction is fine from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, and on Saturday, 8 to 7. For some reason, I was familiar with some of these ordinances. But
I wonder why.
But the issue being, I went out actually, and the people who did the complaining did not come to me as a resident who was home, who was there. They were complaining to the poor people doing the job. They were contracted to do some job, not to listen to the kind of information we've all been listening to for the last almost hour. People complaining. They were complaining, but they were bugging my worker bees. And they're not paid to do that. They're paid to do the work that I contracted them for. And then they came to me because it's a good team. They were bothered by being hassled by the complaints. So what I did was I went out to look at the building permit to see if it says on the building permit, you know, noises in town are fine from 7 to 7, just so the worker bees know it's not their job to take care of these people who are complaining to them. They should either go to the homeowner. That's ideally what. But in the meantime, one of the complaints were coming from the short-term rental person who at one particular day came over 3 times and at 5 o'clock came and screamed at the worker bees that it was 5 o'clock and they were to stop what they were doing. Anyway, in the meantime, the property managers need to be reminded that construction noises are fine from 7 in the morning to 7 at night somehow. And I think Katie has put out some kind of a notice to the property managers. I mean, it's been handled very well, but I was thinking just if a little note was even on the building permit so that the owner, I mean, I went out and looked at the building permit to see if it clearly said, you know, construction on this piece of property is fine from 7 in the morning to 7 p.m. by city ordinance, put in the magic numbers. So something like that, again, just so the person, so often people at that level are not thought about and they've got enough other hassles. That's all.
That's a good idea.
Small potatoes, very small compared to.
That's a good idea, though. I think people don't realize what the ordinances are. So I think that's a good idea.
We'll take a look at that.
And again, just for the work.
Sure.
I mean, if they would have come to me, that would have been another.
Yeah. We'll take a look at that. So, you know, one of the big problems is getting people to look at signs, look at anything in writing. They just kind of form an opinion and I worked with an attorney and he had a great line. It's my opinion and it's very true.
All right, Ginny, you wanted to talk about Jason and he's in the room, so be careful. Ginny, you're on. Okay.
I was just going to say, thanks, Jason, for getting that police log on Facebook.
Yes, absolutely. We used to do it and it was just, we had lost our admin specialist. And so we picked it back up, but no, we're happy to do it. It's somewhat boring for us to see, but I know a lot of people.
I think it's interesting to see like where the overnight campers have been and, you know, how every half an hour the police has to talk to them again about moving. And it seems like besides the dunes, around the ponds has been a big spot for overnight sleepers. But it's interesting. Thank you for doing that.
Of course.
Deb, do you think that maybe you could talk to Joe about getting it into the Gazette?
Oh, we love to, we will do that. And how about the fire too? Because I hear constant fire, the fire going on too. Is that in that? The fire's not in that, is it, Jason?
No,
So
no, that would be
if we can
separate.
get both, yeah, we can do that.
Okay,
I'm emailing him right now,
okay, good.
right now.
Patrick, you came in a little late. I didn't get a chance to ask you if you had anything you wanted to talk about. We have about 5 minutes or so. Is there something you'd like to talk about? I'm not sure Patrick is there. Patrick?
Well, he's not.
He's on mute. Patrick, you're on mute.
Maybe so. I thought there was going to be an introduction with the Hispanic or the Latinx community at this meeting today. What's up with that?
Right, we have 5 minutes. That'll start at 11.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Nancy,
Yes.
can I address something on the cell service?
Yeah, Dale, you're up for cell service.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Dale knows this, but one of the things I found is that what gets these cell companies motivated to do something is complaints. And so, but what they do is they actually track them and where they are. So if it's only like a slice going this way in the island, I'm sorry, but the city. So when you have a problem, and I don't even know what the code is for it, but it's probably 2 digits or something. And then you go ahead and you say, I'm at this location and my cell service is cutting out, or I lost a call or whatever. That's the kind of thing where they start, repositioning their antennas and can do some other things. If that's not happening, then they're not going to do a lot. So you can control this to a degree. But complaining to us doesn't do you no good.
Well, in this town, nobody complains about anything. So
Well, that's one thing. That's why we have to have meetings like this, just to beg people to give us some complaints.
Dale, did you have something you'd like to say more about that?
Well, first of all, I'm certainly not complaining to the city about it at all. I'm just, one comment is that as of a couple of years ago, over half the people, over half the households in the United States had abandoned a landline in favor of a cell phone. So that just shows how much people have embraced the world of cell phones. And the two things about Cannon Beach and down south is that there are dead spots, like by the fire station, where cell just plain doesn't work. At least for Verizon, you just have zero cell service. The other thing that's happening is that on busy days, certainly Sandcastle, 4th of July, things like that, when there's a lot of people in town, calls drop. On other busy weekends, they may drop or fail to go through, or internet service and things like that don't work at the cell. It's just we're overloaded by the number of people, and it's a big nuisance for the residents that live here that are trying to use cell phone in favor of a hardwired landline, and it's a bit of a nuisance for visitors that come. And you can say, well, okay, so the visitors come, don't have cell service, no big deal. But if there's an emergency, either emergency trying to get a hold of them, or they're trying to get a hold of emergency services and don't have cell, that's more than just a nuisance. So, I can complain to Verizon. I don't think they're going to necessarily do much, but I'd like to see somebody go to Verizon and say, hey guys, what are your reports on how cell is doing, and maybe someday they'll fix it.
We have a franchise with Verizon and some of the other cell service. Is there any way we can ask them to increase their broadband service here in order to continue their franchise, or?
There's a point that, I believe that there is a term. And so we can't discontinue until, we reach a point that we're negotiating again, I don't think. But we can certainly make a contact with them and find out what their plans are, that sort of thing.
We're planning on Rick and probably Bruce and I are going to try to get a hold of Verizon anyway and tell them about the issues we've been having. So it's on our radar.
Yeah.
We haven't had that conversation yet.
it's pretty obvious when we get a lot of visitors in that we just don't get service at all.
Right. And I know police has had issues in spots too, so. It's on the radar.
All right, good. All right, I think we have concluded this portion of our presentation today. We have our Hispanic community has joined us. Yay, thank you for coming. We really appreciate you coming and joining us. Jeannie, would you like to introduce your guests?
We'll move out so they can.
Okay.
And we have something that is.
Oh, wow.
Hispanic for you.
Oh, my gosh.
Tonight. So this is very good.
Wow, coffee and dessert.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow.
And there's probably enough for the audience.
Yeah, you could probably pass it around.
Well, oh, gosh, well, I would just like to say thank you so much, to all of you for all the things you've done for our Hispanic community that's so strong and vibrant and they all really appreciate your time and the extended time today. And so here's, okay, this is Yolanda Ramirez.
Hello.
She's the
Hello.
head housekeepers up at Haystack, Homework Resort.
Uh,
Right. And
oh,
a really good leader in our community. And then her husband is Herman. It's like Jermaine in English, but anyway, he's a coach for one of the teams.
oh, great.
And his son is on it. There's a lot of, father, son.
Good. That's good.
And then we
Great.
have here's Abel. Right here. Oh, there he is.
He moved up on you.
And Abel Garcia, and he's our organizer of the, it used to be pretty much totally a Hispanic league, but now it's quite a few Anglos, a lot of people from Cannon Beach, they can tell you where they come from, but they come from far away. They love this field.
Oh, great.
They've been treated so hospitably. And so Abel Garcia, he works at the, you call the inn and you're the head of the league. The league, I know that, but, and there, you're I think the head of all the housekeepers? Is that-
No, just maintenance.
Maintenance.
Handyman,
Yes.
Okay,
He
great.
has a lawn, but he has a landscaping business too.
Oh, wow.
Abel Garcia's.
Yeah,
You're a little busy.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially this time of year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate Eric coming too, and so he's knowledgeable about, situations,
Right.
and some of their desires, so.
Okay.
I think I'll probably have Abel start all these wonderful people who came. So
Tell us what you have questions or concerns or anything. Let us know what they are.
Okay, first, the question is, we have I'm the head president for the league and May. And Yolanda, we always have a fan over there and Phil and my question is how we can work for next year. Can I get a permit or something we play the field again,
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to know, so what did we need exactly? We're still playing at the little field over there.
So what is it you need for the field?
Yeah,
What do you need?
well, we need.
Well, because I don't know if it's kind of confusing, but we just got the information that we may not have a permanent next plane.
Oh,
And because I guess they always do it, they ask and they say, okay, so that's what we do. We don't really have any paperwork like. We just play because it's been going for more than 10 years. And so now, like I said, we will have a talk and people are saying, well, maybe by next year, the city is not going to let you guys have the soccer again in the field. And well, we're kind of worried because we have kids there and that's, I think, the only, because it's so busy Cannon Beach and really we work we work so much, we have no time to go anywhere.
Right.
To spend time with the family and with the kids, and that's kind of our day to go and be together,
Right.
community and everything. And we will be so sad that we have to end that.
Thank you.
Have you heard anything about that?
Well, we did talk about it, and I think Bruce and Jason were saying that a permit could be possibly issued. I think it all kind of came up when we were talking about putting lighting into the park. And so I don't know who wants to carry it from here, but I think we kind of came up with a bit of an idea.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things, putting the lighting aside. What happened with the time is that, and you've been playing as long as there was daylight, but with one of the ordinances we just passed, the parks are closing like at a certain, like 9 o'clock or something. Okay, that was never directed at soccer. It was directed at, another issue that we're trying to deal with. So what we've been talking about internally is some sort of a permit. And then that would say, because you had a permit, you could play till 10 or whatever the time is. And then, so we could go ahead and cover that one. What we have, I regret saying this, but we kind of have been looking away that you have more than 50 people because you're supposed to have a permit when you hit 50. And when you hit 50, that's when you got to do insurance and things like that. And so we've tried to not make that happen, but just know that you will be able to play soccer next year.
Yeah.
We're just trying to figure out how to do it without making you buy, the insurance, and also trying to give you a little bit of extra time during the summer where you can play.
Yeah, because we're willing to do anything. If we have to change maybe only 3 games to be done by 8 or 9, I'm sure Abel can talk to their people and maybe they will have not so many teams. I don't know.
Yolanda, that's all. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I'm just saying that you will have the extended time somehow. It was never directed at you. It was directed at another problem. And then you guys got caught up in it. Okay?
So that's at least till 9 o'clock.
I think right now it is 9 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah.
The park is open till 9, but sometimes it's still light. And I think that sometimes people hang around after. And so we'll find a way. I mean, we've found a way by not looking at it. Only now we've got, it's a little bit more complicated. And, but yeah, we'll still.
Because normally, we and almost all the teams get done by 9, we'll say, but sometimes Abel stay longer or we stay longer because we check for garbage and everything. And we are not the ones out, the people from the Christian Center, they're the ones out playing, because that's not really ours. And we all they have little kids, they have to go home. So it's not just us, the ones in the park, it's the people from, like I said, the Christian Center. And they go out, they play frisbee and they play.
Yeah.
So.
Now, let me tell you, there's, I knew there was another issue with this. Oh, and we have to sort something through with the Parks Committee because it's first come, first serve. And so I don't know, we don't have the ability right now to do a permit for somebody to use the field. We do have a permit that somebody can reserve the bandstand. And so we'll have to go ahead and find a way around that. So there's just a couple of things that we got to do, but we want you to play.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about your league? Is it a league? Is it several teams that play against each other or?
Yeah, right now we have we have 10 teams right now. Some people come from Astoria, Warrington, Seaside.
Wow.
And here in Manzanita too, Ocean Park.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And right now it's a lot of right now we have the future for the kids, and now we have a lot of kids that want to join us, Americans and Hispanics and everything, So this is what I think Jermaine, me and Jermaine, you want to keep it going like that. So
Absolutely.
for the future, for our kids, your kids too.
Yeah, yeah. Do you,
This is what I think.
do you play at other locations as well as Cannon Beach?
Well, I think in Warrington, they have a little, those guys make a little league over there too. But I think they make in April.
And it's more for adults, not really.
Yeah, for
like,
adults,
kids. Like up here it's mixed, that's playing with sons and all ages here.
No, that's great.
Well, and all the
I think it's a family,
I love
yeah, it's family here.
Yeah, so we have have a lot of Americans friends. They have kids and sometimes they want to come and join us to play. And so we love it to keep those kids to play, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's great. And how often do you play there?
Just every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
It's great if you haven't been. It's really.
Yeah.
Quality of soccer is really good.
Yeah.
And how many kids do you think are involved?
Probably.
50% I think is kids and 50% adults.
Yeah.
About 50, about
15 years old on our north.
Yeah, 15, 16, yeah.
I know at Mo's, we have 6 who play and some of them are father and son.
Wow.
And right now, like my son has American friends and they pass it and they say, well, you want to join team? Oh, yeah. And since they went, everybody pass. To all the people to come and join, you know.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Start playing the floor, so.
Yeah.
4 is the first, we, the last one is at 8. And
We are really tight with the time, so we play only 30 minutes half. We make it 4 games every week.
Wow. Okay.
Two teams has to be off.
Wow. Wow. We definitely want to see it continue. We don't want to worry. We don't want you to worry that it's not going to happen because this is a great outlet for everybody.
You know, they work from in the morning, you know, till like 4, a lot of them. And so they come fast. I don't know if they take their uniforms to work.
Yeah,
Great, great.
And
Well,
so they sometimes have to start maybe more like 4:10 or 4:15, you know, but and so it is tight, but
yeah,
it's amazing how they just really do their.
That's great.
Great referee there too, and, you know, I'm sure you have to pay him for.
Yeah, that's great.
That's great.
Are you the one that talked with Sylvia last week?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. No, so we'll work with the Hispanic Council to try to work them together because they're a nonprofit. So hopefully they can help with the permit.
Oh, that would be
process.
great.
Yeah, cover that. But I think we've got your number and email and
Yeah.
keep working with you. But there shouldn't be any issues next year.
Okay.
We'll be good to go.
Nancy?
It would be really nice if we could keep their 10 teams, so instead of, because I know Abel once told me that they were concerned that they might have to decrease down to 8, you know, because of the light issue, it's mostly August, mid-August, in September. And a lot of times they have their trophies on really close to Mexican Independence Day, September 16th, in September. So it's kind of a fun time, and then they want to stay a little bit later just to enjoy and, you know, pat each other on the back. All the women enjoy coming because they get to talk with each other while they're men or, you know, playing.
Yeah.
But and the kids, of course. But it can be a safety issue without enough light. You know, we don't want people bumping into each other and hurting each other.
Well, Jason, you've said that you bring your lights when you are here.
Oh,
excuse me, sorry.
Oh, you bring your lights when you're here?
They've been using ours, but we're working on trying to get them. Did the one last week work any better?
They're better than last time.
Yeah, no, we'll figure out one that works at least temporarily for you guys.
I also brought mine, so it's not big as yours, but.
Sure.
But some people are.
Yeah.
They told me that eventually, if it ever can come to this, that it'd be ideal to have some permanent lights, that they would make tamales and pozole or whatever. But it seems like, it'd be great if the city has, there'd be a partnership somehow,
So I'm sure we have the sponsors and I'm sure Kalmar will be with money and I'm sure like the logins, they are helping with money too. So I think last year Sursa, I'm not sure this year, but maybe we can go and ask. And like I said, everybody that plays there, we work for Cannon Beach.
Yeah.
Cannon Beach is making money with our work. So we are happy to be here. And we can be doing anything. Like they say, we can have tamales, we can make the money somehow.
You're very shrewd, bribing us with food.
Yeah.
Nancy, I do have one comment. The field, it's not watered. And so, it's kind of getting in rough shape, and it does this at this time in the summer. So this is one of those things that can get ruined by its own success. And so if it's, your folks local or whatever, as long as it doesn't get too big. But if all of a sudden we're asked to go ahead and do it 2 nights a week, 3 nights a week, or to go into part of the winter where it's wet, because that field does get wet. And we don't want to be, playing soccer during that time. So, and I don't think you would either. So I just want to, just a caution that if it gets too big, it might start to create a problem for it to continue on. So just keep it low key. All right. And we'll try to do the same thing, and we'll try to figure out some way to make all this work. Okay. And I applaud you for pulling together a league and even uniforms, everything else. I mean, that's hard to do. And you got everybody rowing in the same direction. So that's excellent.
And Yolanda makes really good chocolate cake. If you ever get there.
I'll be right there. That's my favorite. Do you have any other questions or concerns or anything else that you would like to talk about?
Well, we would like to invite everybody, and that will be Wednesday, the 24th of August. We will have we call kermesse. It will be like a Mexican food, because we are collecting money for co-worker son that he just got diagnosed with cancer. So he's going through chemo, and I know the next week he's so little, he's very young, he's only 4 years old. They have to take him to Seattle for the radiation. It's very hard. He works with me at the Hallmark. And so Abel and all the coaches and everybody, we are putting things together and making food. And all the money that we collect will go for his expenses.
Okay, good.
We will start like our 5:30 till we have food. I don't know what time.
When it's over.
Yeah.
Till 5:45.
We are
So we'd like you guys come and join if you guys can.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
And where will that be? Where will that be? That will be at the park. Oh, yeah, but I'm sure they're gonna be setting up by the stand where they have the band. Sí, but
That'll be Wednesday, August 24th. See.
yeah, I think that will be by the stand where you guys have the band, when they have the music.
Okay.
Oh, area, that will go for this. That'd be fun. Yeah, so you can enjoy the game and then you can have some Mexican food and make it from scratch, because we are all cooking.
Sounds wonderful. The godmother of this wonderful little boy.
Yeah.
He's the son of Angel Pedraza. You may know Angel works for Escape Lodging. But she's concerned, of course. And they did a funding, what do you call it, GoFundMe. A lot of people donated.
Well, nice.
Yeah, my son went through radiation and all when he was 3.5 years old, so
Oh, gee.
kind of know what she's going through.
Yeah.
Oh, there's hope alive.
Yeah.
Hope alive.
All right. Anything else that you'd like to talk about? Great.
Well,
So should we
thank you
open
so
this?
much for us to have you come
Thank you.
and share your thoughts, and I hope you'll consider doing that in the future.
I'm going to open these up so that if anybody wants some,
You might just consider in some state, not every month, because I know you all are so busy. You have meetings sometimes 4 days a week at least. And but because they work, in other words, Wednesday and Thursday are their only days off. I didn't know. Like a meeting on one of those days, maybe once every 3 or 4 months or 6 months, you know, not because y'all need time in the evening to.
That's an idea.
It's just an idea because they work till at least what, 5.
Well, the ladies, I think they have 2 jobs, but all the wives will work only 1 job, but they have 2 jobs.
At least.
And then the league on top.
Yeah, yeah, that's a job in itself.
Pastry, you'd be willing to arrange that meeting.
That was so nice of you to extend the time, because at 10 o'clock, they're all getting their
Busy at night.
employees instructions to do, you know, whatever needs to be done on Monday.
Oh, thank you.
Monday's right after the weekend, and that's their busy time, you know. So thanks a million
Yeah,
for.
thank you.
Well, we appreciate you coming.
Yes.
We really enjoyed
Very
talking to you.
I want to thank Jeannie for kind of being the messenger on this. And I know how much work and time you put in with the community. So thank you.
Mucho gusto, my pleasure. They're good people.
Yep.
And Jason, I want to say thank you.
Yes.
Once upon a time, he's very instrumental in getting this whole thing started too. We had a friend in common, Anne Fontaine, who was a principal minister.
Yep.
And her dream was that the Hispanic people would enjoy our town and everything. So,
Wow.
muchas gracias.
Yeah, thank you for your help.
Yeah, thank you for your help, I appreciate it. Everybody, thank you. And then the inclusion, he helped get our city as inclusive. We didn't want to be sanctuary city, we want to be legal and welcoming to everybody.
Mhm.
And they police themselves, I promise you, they are so good about
We behave.
telling anybody who is considering drinking alcohol or something, cool it, you know.
Yeah.
They
That's
want to be
important.
responsible.
All right. Well, if you have any other concerns or issues or anything you'd like to say, be sure and come see us. Be sure and talk to Bruce, to Jason. You know, feel free to do that
And if
if you want to.
If you call me, I can put you on a workshop at a meeting. So that's like second Tuesday at night, 6 o'clock. So if we can maybe schedule around that, we'll just give you a spot on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
no worries.
What's the second Tuesday? I was thinking it was first Tuesday.
First Tuesday is our regular city council meeting and our second Tuesday is our work sessions. Yeah, our work sessions, we discuss issues, but we don't take votes. But our first Tuesdays is our regular session where we take our official votes on things. Yeah.
Yeah, and they can speak even the first Tuesday.
They could speak at the first one too.
But the second Tuesday is the.
We could break, give you some time, as a group.
Yep.
And
And
it's 6 o'clock.
we'd like an update on soccer and how that's going.
Yeah.
Maybe you could fill us in on that.
Yeah,
Are they both meetings at 6 o'clock?
Yeah, they're both at
Yes.
6. Mhm.
usually, Jeannie, usually they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Anything else for the good of the order?
And come to this if you will.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I think we are adjourned
Okay.
till next month.
Okay.
So, thank you.